Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball from the windy city of Chicago, where the magic number stands at 5 for the Redbirds. And tonight, it's the first of 3. Chicago and St. Louis. Adam Wainwright trying to become a 20-game winner here on this Monday night at Wrigley. The last 4 20-game winners for the St. Louis Cardinals. Wainwright did it back in 2010. Chris Carpenter, his Cy Young Award-winning season of 05. Matt Morris and also the late Darryl Kyle did it back in 2000. And along with my partner tonight, Tim McCarver, my name is Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. And, of course, Adam Wainwright going for victory number 20 tonight. But the team, higher expectations, gunning for a division championship. Magic number, Tim, stands at 5.
Yeah, the reason this week is so important, the rewards of winning your division so much greater than just making it to October as the Cardinals try to hold off those surging Pittsburgh Pirates.
Should be a lot of fun here tonight. Should be a fun 3-game set at Wrigley. Always is. 3 guys that have hit Travis Wood well. Holiday, Molina, Jay, that trio in the lineup tonight. Baseball comes your way next. Wrigley Field. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball, along with Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you. And a look at the Central Division standings. Pittsburgh, they are playing at Atlanta tonight. 2.5 back of St. Louis. The Cardinals with 87 wins, a record of 87 and 69. A look at the Cardinals lineup. This lineup healing a little bit from over the weekend and the flu bug that has struck this team. Matt Carpenter's back in there tonight, followed by Randall Grichuk and Matt Holliday, Johnny Peralta, Yadier Molina, Matt Adams, John Jay, good numbers against Wood, Pete Kozma, and the pitcher batting ninth, and that's Adam Wainwright. Cardinals face left-hander Travis Wood. His record stands at 8-12 this year.
Tell you, there are two very, very good hitting pitchers in both lineups tonight. Adam Wainwright, Travis Wood. Travis, a much better pitcher than that 8-12 record, even though an ERA closing in on 5. Cardinals with 3 left-handed batters in their lineup tonight.
One of them is Matt Carpenter. There's 91 walks this year. On-base percentage at .372. And I guess, Tim, if a team is going to get a flu bug, it's good to get it the week before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Run through the team.
That's an interesting point. David Bell back at the hotel, the right-handed hitting instructor, and Marco Gonzalez back in St. Louis.
And the club saying that they do not want to expose those that are dealing with the sickness to others on the charter flight last night. So
makes sense, right?
They stay back home or in the hotel, and quickly it's no balls and 2 strikes here on Carpenter.
Travis Wood is not as tough to hit for a left-handed batter as some left-handed pitchers because he's over the top. When you're over the top, you're almost like a right-hander out there. There's no bailing out of the front side.
Familiar stance of Carpenter. It's open, and the 0-2 is taken high.
We have often talked about Matt Carpenter and wearing no batting glove. Well, Randall Grichuk, who's on deck, also does not wear batting gloves. I wonder how many teams in the major leagues have 2 guys back-to-back with naked hands holding the bat. Of course, Grichuk, he took batting practice. He tricked me tonight. I was down by the cage watching him take batting practice tonight. He put gloves on to hit with.
A little late with that swing and a strikeout of Carpenter.
A little late for my comments, too.
Cool night. I don't blame him, though. I'm going with the gloves, too.
Yeah.
It's Coughlin in left, Kalish in center. Soler is in right field. Valbuena, Baez, Alcantara, Rizzo. They're along the infield, and Wellington Castillo is behind the plate. There's a look at Rick Renteria in his first season as the manager of the Chicago Cubs. So here's Randall Grichuk, 4 for his last 10. And those 4 hits have been extra base hits. 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 4 RBIs. He is looking like a different player now in his 3rd stint with the club.
3 games, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs. And those are the types of pitches he was looking for in batting practice. I love to go down around the cage and watch young hitters take batting practice and see if they're getting that front shoulder in position to hit that outside fastball. Wood, of course, coming in to go back outside.
Last night, a diving catch, RBI double in the 6th for Grichuk. Goes outside, and Randall hits it out to center. Kalish is there, 2 down. And it brings in Matt Holliday. And last time that the Chicago Cubs made their way to St. Louis, Matt Holliday was a one-man wrecking crew offensively. And against the Cubs in his last 7 games, he has 5 home runs. He is 1 home run shy of his 9th straight 20th home run season. So this guy is putting up tremendous numbers, consistent. He's in there day after day. Tremendous play.
Right after the All-Star game, you made a comment about it's time for Matt Holliday to start heating up because of the second half of the season. And has he ever done so?
Tim, he keeps himself in great shape. And I've said this the last couple of weeks. I mean, there are some guys, as you know, this time of year, they start to tail off. You know, the dog days have caught up with them, and they just can't get it back. This guy is in tremendous condition, and he falls behind here, no balls and 2 strikes. I would assume that's part of the equation as to why he finishes up so strongly here year after year.
And to think weightlifting was frowned upon in baseball as early as 30 years ago.
Amazing. In the dirt, and it's 1-2. And it's not just the position players that are weightlifting, but Think about the pitchers. Even they're doing it.
As long as you mix it in with isometrics and stretching. If you don't, problems can occur. It's how muscles are pulled, hamstrings.
Popped up to the right side. Rizzo with room, calling for it. And a 1-2-3 inning for lefty Travis Wood. Adam Wainwright to the mound when we come back. Wainwright is trying to pick up win number 20 tonight. 19-9. He's our key starter.
Hoping deja vu is in effect because he won his 20th, the only other time he won 20 games at Wrigley Field 4 years ago.
So big number 50 trying to duplicate what he did here at this ballpark. As Tim mentioned, picked up his 20th win of the season against the Chicago Cubs. Ramirez was still in the lineup for Chicago. Some very good hitters at that time in the middle of their lineup. That was back in 2010. Remember, he missed all of 2011. And 4 times in his career, he's gotten to 19 wins. Here's Coughlin to lead things off, and a breaking ball that's taken in the dirt. You know, the Cubs have just destroyed the Cardinals in terms of the long ball this year. They've hit 24 home runs in 16 games against St. Louis this year.
Man.
They're coming off a series in which they scored 22 runs in 4 games against the Dodgers. The problem was their pitching staff allowed 37 runs.
Yeah, during that 4-game series, there were 16 runs scored by both teams in all 4 games.
Man. 1 ball and 1 strike on Coughlin. One thing I noticed recently from Adam Wainwright, velocity has been a tick or 2 up. He actually hit 96 in the 9th inning of his complete game against Milwaukee last time out. First time he had hit 96 this year. That pitch at 91.
Yeah, he wasn't even close to 96 in any of his August starts. Only 2 and 4 with an earned run average over 5 in August.
As he called it, a dead arm stage. The 2-2 pitch chopped to short. Taken there by Peralta for the first out. Rick Renteria's lineup. Let's take a look. Coughlin leads it off, followed by Javier Baez. And then their power hitter, Anthony Rizzo, who's 8 for 24 with a home run against Wainwright. Jorge Soler, Luis Valbuena, Wellington Castillo, Alcantara, Ryan Kalish, and Travis Wood, the pitcher that owns 9 career home runs. Javier Baez hits for power, 9 home runs, but strikes out an awful lot.
Javier Baez and Jorge Soler remind me of a Ben Hogan quote about 50 years ago, saying that he could help any major league hitter increase their power. by increasing their bat speed through the strike zone. And you saw that swing by Javier Baez. Ben Hogan said he could help any major leaguer increase their power by increasing bat speed through the strike zone. And these two young guys have as much bat speed through the zone as any two young right-handed hitters I've seen in a long time. The problem, as you said, Dan, or implied, is they've got to control that with two strikes. You can't take the same swing with two strikes that you took leading up to two strikes.
He has 83 strikeouts in 187 at-bats this year. And there it is. Strikes out for the 84th time. That's probably not the two-strike swing that you're talking about.
No. Of course, the ball in the dirt and the Wainwright curveball got him.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Holiday, Jay, Grichuk in the outfield. Carpenter, Peralta on the left side of the infield. Cosman, Adams on the right side. Molina is behind the plate. And it brings in Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs have 4 players that have struck out 100 or more times, and that includes Rizzo, who is at 112 to lead the club. "31 home runs. He's driven in 74. There's a good breaking ball from Adam Wainwright.
Any organization will take that trade-off. Over 100 strikeouts if you hit over 30 home runs.
Sure.
Because you can't generate power unless you strike out occasionally. Very few home run hitters don't strike out a lot.
Hits it the other way, and that'll drop in for a base hit. At the sidewall, played by Holiday. Rizzo to second, and in there safely with 2 down.
We appreciate the Cubs accommodating our comments up here, because that is exactly what we were talking about being a controlled swing. Pitch was away off the plate, but if you're not protecting away off the plate, you're not going to hit a ball like that. A lot of people will say, well, that was a lucky hit. No, it wasn't. It was approach turned into hit.
And it brings in Soler, who might be, of all the young Cubs, the most highly touted of this really 4 or 5 that they have coming through their system. You talk about bat speed. We saw that back home at Busch Stadium. He put on a show.
That pitch, that home run he hit on that ball inside, that inside tailing fastball was a rocket.
Sure was. 4 for 7 in that series with 2 home runs.
That was game 1 of the 4-game series.
In the air, shallow right field, and Grichuk makes the catch on the run. Cubs strand a man. No score after an inning of play. West is brought to you by Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. Come in and visit Mid-American Chevy dealers and make your move to Chevrolet today. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Beautiful city of Chicago and Wrigley Field, which opened up back in 1914. Second oldest ballpark in the major leagues, behind Fenway Park in Boston. That opened up in 1912. The third oldest is Dodger Stadium, and that opened up in 1962. I'm assuming after all these years you love coming here.
On State Street, that great street. I just want to say the great Sammy Kahn lyrics. This was, after all, the town that Billy Sunday could not shut down.
Keep it coming.
Billy Sunday, that's also from one of the great Sinatra songs, but Billy Sunday was a preacher / ball player. He was a major league player.
No, I didn't know that.
And also an evangelist that tried to, right around Prohibition time, that tried to shut down Chicago. Ergo, the words, the town that Billy Sunday could not shut down.
I got you now.
Yeah.
They're planning major renovations for this ballpark this time next year. Big scoreboard.
Oh, yeah.
In left field, some of the signage will be up. There's a strike to Peralta.
They're even moving our trucks next year. I heard that this afternoon.
Really?
Yeah, they're going to move them to the parking lot across the street. I don't know what they're going to do with where the trucks are right now.
As Peralta puts one in the air down the right field line, slicing. And it's out of play. Now there's talk of building up a hotel across the street. And if you've ever been here to Wrigley Field, you probably know the famous McDonald's across the street.
Oh, yeah.
So there's talk of doing something with that. That guy's too little to know who Mark Pryor is.
I was thinking the same thing.
Here's a 3-2 pitch to Peralta. In on his hands and fouled back. Nothing like being in Chicago. Great town.
Some town.
I always tell our fans, if you get the chance, especially in the summer months, one of the weekend series that these two teams play, it's a bucket list thing. You have to come to Chicago.
Got to do it.
Strikeout number 2 for Travis Wood. Time now for you to tweet your photo using the hashtag STLFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Brings in Yadier Molina, who's hitting .283. Molina with very good numbers against this lefty. 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. The Cardinals are 16-8 since he returned to the lineup.
Guys in the truck on the ball. Billy Sunday played 8 seasons in the major leagues, had a .248 lifetime average.
I'm a little surprised and disappointed in you.
Why?
I always refer to you.
I thought he had 12 years in the major leagues. I was wrong.
You're like the walking encyclopedia of baseball.
I don't know about that.
And you have to call upon the truck?
Yeah, I did.
What's going on with you?
I'm losing it. What can I tell you?
A strike to Molina. I let you go away for a month, and
that's right.
I expected that.
That's right. Our last game was in Miami.
That's
middle of August.
Last time we were together, Giancarlo Stanton was still playing.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Molina hits a line drive out to right, and there's Soler. 2 down.
You could tell with that swing from Yachty, though, 18 of his 22 hits since he's come back off the list are singles. And he doesn't have the thump and authority, understandably, that he would normally have with a healthy right thumb.
Billy Sunday is from Ames, Iowa.
Oh, is that right?
Ames, Iowa. I wonder if he grew up a fan of the Cyclones. Iowa State. That's fouled back. Des Moines, you have the Iowa Cubs, AAA affiliate. One pitch to Adams. Missed time over the weekend with the flu.
Not too early to get your flu shots, right?
No, sir.
I had mine last week at a supermarket in Florida. I did. You can get them at supermarkets down there. I don't know if that's the case. I wonder if
you can.
I wonder if you can at Schnucks.
Schnucks has got them. Walgreens.
I would imagine. Yeah.
I can just imagine that in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. Tim McCarver comes rolling in. Wait a minute, that's Tim McCarver? You gave him the flu shot? Give me that. I want to have that for my collection.
Yeah, right. Right, the used needle, right. Yeah, thank you.
Here's a 1-2, and that's outside. 2-2. You and I were talking before the game about the Cardinals, and it's hard to believe magic number is at 5 with an offense that has been hit and miss all year long.
I think, you know, a lot's been said about Tony La Russa going to the Hall of Fame this year, and Mike Matheny 3 years ago succeeding Tony La Russa, and what a tough job it was in the World Series his second year, in the playoffs his first year, and I think this year he's done a better job than either year.
I think that's fair.
I think it's underrated, the job that Mike Matheny has done this year.
Especially when you lose Walker. Right. Especially when you lose Molina.
Right.
3-2 pitch. Adams strikes out looking. So Travis Wood has struck out 3 of the 6 that he's seen. Called third strike on the Cardinals slugger. The Hyundai replay midway through 2, and there's no score. Second, we say good evening to Jim Hayes, as we always do in the second inning. Jim, you're such a gamer. I know you are dealing with the flu as well. How are you feeling, Jim Hayes?
Dan, it's not about me. It's about the broadcast and about my teammates, you and Tim McCarver. You know that.
I do. How is the team faring with this flu bug?
Well, with the exception of Marco Gonzalez and David Bell, who you guys touched on, most of the guys were telling me they feel a lot better today. Mike Matheny told me he's never seen a bug hit this hard, this quickly, and he says it affected about 15 players. Matt Carpenter told me he felt a little nauseous on Saturday, thought it was nothing, thought he could play through it. but within a couple of hours, he couldn't even stand up. That's how quickly it hit. But Carpenter says he's better. Matt Adams told me he feels better, so it seems like the worst is over, guys.
Well, that's good news. Now, the guys had a little fun, I understand, on the charter. We weren't on it, but the charter from St. Louis to Chicago last night, they had a little fun with some of the young players.
Yeah, and you couldn't miss it on Twitter. It's become a bit of a tradition around baseball and the Cardinals dress-up day for the rookies and young players. So the Cardinal youngsters boarded the plane last night dressed as cheerleaders, flight attendants, and things you couldn't even identify. The pics are all over Twitter. I'm not sure who the mastermind of this was, Daniel Descalso, but I'm told the cheerleader uniforms were authentic Rams cheerleader uniforms provided by the Rams, and I'm also sure that the Rams don't want those uniforms back. Probably stretched out a little bit.
All right, Jimmy, good stuff. Here is Luis Valbuena. Hazing Tim McCarver. I'm assuming, things have changed a little bit over the years, but you probably dealt with a little hazing in your day. And there's another strikeout for Wainwright, his second of the night.
I never have, honestly.
Really?
I had my first start catching Bob Gibson in this ballpark in 1959.
Did you really?
And I was not hazed that year. And I was thankful for that. Good tailing fastball from Wainwright. Because some of the things that the young players are made to do today, I'm surprised there hasn't been more backlash, or at least a little backlash. But everything's done in good, I won't say clean fun, but good fun.
Good nature.
Good natured fun, absolutely.
Here's Wellington Castillo. You said something interesting one of the first times.
Finally.
You always do, but this one was really interesting. You said that you love the dirt here at this ballpark. You mentioned that to me. You said this dirt was unlike any other dirt.
I don't remember mentioning to you
the ballpark.
This dirt at Wrigley Field is one of the reasons I think some of the guys that have hit well in this ballpark as members of the Cubs have hit well for so long. This dirt, it's not a clay dirt. It's dirt that gets in the pores, and you get it out in November, that type of deal. It gets in there in April, gets out in November. Like the dirt at Dodger Stadium is clay. It's a mixture.
Long way to go for Cosma. The shift was on for Castillo, and he makes the play.
But I know it sounds strange as we look at Toyota's keys to the game, which is not strange to us because Adam Wainwright, 20/20 vision. He won 20 here in 2010 and hopes to win his 20th here tonight. But it's an odd thing. I mean, guys used to take brushes after the game when they were showering, try to get it out. You can't get the dirt out here.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's wonderful, really, if you're a hitter.
I would assume that this would be a place that could cause nightmares for a pitcher and a catcher to an extent.
Well, with the wind blowing out,
Exactly.
absolutely. But, of course, that's not the case. Boy, those flags, it's rare that they're that dead on the flagpole. Straight down.
Usually always some type of wind.
Yeah.
Contra falls behind 0-2. He's a switch hitter. He has 10 home runs. They have the potential of having 3 rookies with 10 or more home runs. Baez would be the third along with Alt. Alcantara. One ball and 2 strikes. Mention it is a sparse crowd here tonight. The Bears are playing in Monday Night Football, and there are an awful lot of Cardinal fans here this evening. Two. Wainwright is sharp early on. Both starters have struck out 3 through 2. Mike Matheny has joined managers that have led their teams to the playoffs in their first 3 seasons as a major league manager, and Mike Matheny has done it. The last to do it was Ron Gardenhire with Minnesota. Larry Dierker was on that list. It is tough to do.
Look at the first one on that list. Huey Jennings, the Detroit manager from 07 to 09, which means that he was also the manager in 1908, the last time the Cubs won the World Series.
Wow. And I think you brought up a really good point as we get a look at John Jay. For Mike Matheny to come in and do what he's done, he has followed a living legend.
That's right.
In Tony La Russa. Tony La Russa is 35 wins shy of number 2 on the all-time wins list. Smoked out to right center field, off the bat of Jay, and it is caught by Kalish. A running catch in the gap in right center.
Actually playing John Jay into left center field. You know, you see the catch, you don't see the jump. You will right here. Watch Kalish. Pitch is inside. Good jump. Nice play. A little easier play for a right-handed thrower since the glove would be on the left hand. Good play by Kalish.
Here's Pete Kozma. Be interesting to see what the Cardinals want to do with their bench for the postseason. You've got Descalso, Ellis, Kozma, Xavier Scruggs potentially. Typically, no more than 12 pitchers are on the postseason roster. With Kozma's flexibility, he's got a very good shot to make this club for the postseason.
One of the better middle infield defenders in the game. And with postseason experience.
Made a dazzling play on Friday night playing second base. He's a natural shortstop. He can play third. He also could play first in a pinch.
Who could forget the hit to right field in Washington?
That's big time experience
there.
That
is big time experience right there. I think it was Descalso first and then Kozma, right?
Correct. And Washington back in postseason play. Finish up with the best overall record in the National League. If it ended today, the Cardinals would be facing the Dodgers. Also news out of the National League East. Frank Wren fired as the general manager of the Braves today. Bruce Mano, who spent a number of years in the Cardinals organization, was also let go. 1-2 the count on Kozma. 8th place hitter with Wainwright to follow. Cardinals are trying to avoid the play-in game of the playoffs. They are assured to head to the postseason, but magic number stands at 5 to win the division. Kozma rips it out to left, and the Cardinals have their first base hit. The other thing that Pete can do, Tim, as we've seen, he can really run.
He can really run. He's a guy that on defense he has quickness, on offense he has speed. They often do not go together. They're not necessarily hand in glove. A guy can be quick without being fast, and he can be fast without being quick. Kozma is both.
It's kind of like we talk about at times great base stealers. Those that get great jumps but aren't overall quick.
Right.
Fast.
Their technique is better.
Exactly. It's fouled back by Adam Wainwright, who's hitting 188. He has 7 sacrifices this year. He's driven in 6. If it wasn't for Clayton Kershaw, how many Cy Young awards would Adam Wainwright have?
Well, that's a great question.
2, maybe 3. Maybe this year. Some believe that Kershaw not only will win the Cy Young, but also the MVP.
It's a possibility. Giancarlo Stanton was on track to win an MVP, and now his absence in that Miami lineup is going to go against him, unfortunately.
Has he done enough to win it?
I don't know. I mean, my bet would be Kershaw, but there are a lot of people that don't think that a pitcher should win the MVP award. The last time it happened, Bob Gibson in 1968, Cy Young and MVP.
And a strikeout of Wainwright. He didn't like the call. So first time through the lineup, and Travis Wood has struck out 4. With 2 outs, it brings in Matt Carpenter. Tickets on sale now at Cardinals.com. National League wildcard games, the Division Series as well. And if you're looking for World Series tickets, well, all you have to do is sign up for season tickets next year. Then you're in for your postseason. Here's Carpenter. Struck out swinging first time up. This is a remarkable run for such a historic franchise. And the Cardinals are headed to the postseason for the 4th consecutive year, for the first time in Cardinals history.
Starting with that glorious 2011 win over the Texas Rangers in the World Series.
I said to Tony La Russa, I said, all right, we have no cameras, we have no reporters in here. During our evening with Tony, which was a week ago tonight, and I said, give me the honest truth. Did you really think you were going to make it into postseason? And he said we had 32, 33 games to go in the regular season. And he said we had Carpenter down for about 6 starts, and we knew if we had Carpenter down for that many starts, we at least have a shot. We're talking about Chris Carpenter. And then he went through this whole jumbled puzzle of what he had figured out. And then he got back to it and he said, not really. I didn't think we really had a chance. But we made it. And the rest is history. The 2-1. Strike 2, Carpenter. It's Paul Emmel, our crew chief tonight, calling the balls and strikes. Bill Welke, James Hoy, and also Mark Carlson, part of this crew for these 3 games here in Chicago. Count is 2-2 on Matt Carpenter with a runner at second base. Chilly night. Saw some of the players with the hoodies on and long sleeve shirts underneath the uniform. Would you expect that here in late September in Chicago?
Yesterday being the autumnal equinox.
That's right. That's right.
21st of September. True to form, a cool evening in Chicago.
Here's a 2-2. Carpenter strikes out for the second time. That's 5 already for Travis Wood through 3. At Wrigley Field, Cardinals strand a runner in scoring position. No score. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer for 75 years. Nighttime shot, the skyline of the city of Chicago. Kalish, Wood, and Coughlin, 8-9-1 in the lineup for the Cubs. Adam Wainwright is one of 6 pitchers with at least 220 innings this year. And leading the way, David Price, 232 1/3. But he has not been quite the same pitcher that we saw in Tampa Bay.
How about Waino's last 3 games? 9 innings, 8 innings, 9 innings. 26 innings over a 3-game period.
Curious from a catcher's perspective, Tim, and it's, you won't find this in Webster's dictionary. Dead arm, a dead arm pitcher. We hear about it all the time. When you're catching a guy that has the quote unquote dead arm, what are you seeing from a catcher's perspective?
You don't even think about things like that. I mean, the trainer might talk about it and all that sort of stuff. All you can do is call pitches according to his stuff that night. What you see directs how you call a game. If he's not throwing as hard, you realize early that you may have to do things that you haven't done before. You may have to call more breaking balls. If his breaking ball's not working early, you may have to stick with it in the middle innings because it can come around. A harder fastball cannot come around. If he's not throwing it in the first or second inning, he's not going to get it in the 6th. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. But his curveball, the breaking ball, can come around.
That's more about feel and just loosening up. And
I guess, the one thing catchers are experts on are results. They don't know what it means to have a dead arm if you're a pitcher, or how to throw a curveball, or to stay on top and stuff like that. I often thought it was kind of silly when catchers motion the pitchers, you're dropping down or stuff like that. You don't know what that's like. You've never pitched. But the one thing you do know is the result of a pitch or results of pitches. And you can tell him about that. And then he can go about adjusting. You're not going to adjust for him. He's going to do it himself.
3-2 pitch. Just got a piece.
So really, it's like while it's said a lot that a pitcher and a catcher, they're a battery, they work together, they're compartmentalized. The catcher works on his things, on the results of pitches, and a pitcher works on how to make that result happen. Does that make sense?
Yes. Pitch number 36 coming up. And a called 3rd strike.
Good result.
He'll take it. 4 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright. He has struck out 3 of the last 4 that he's seen. Do not overlook Travis Wood at the plate. 9 career home runs, 3 this year. He's hitting .236, which is 2nd among National League pitchers. He's driven in 10. Last time out, the 9th career shutout for Adam Wainwright. He is tied with Clayton Kershaw with 9 of those since 2010. And a fly ball lifted into right. Grichuk under it for the 2nd out. What you have to remember about that is that he missed all of 2011 and still is tied with Kershaw for the most since 2010. I'm not saying this trade is brought for Broglio or some of the great deals that the Cardinals have made, but it will go down.
It was a good one.
It's one of the very good trades the Cardinals ever made in getting Adam Wainwright from the Atlanta Braves.
Taking Adam gladly out of his home state of Georgia.
He really surprised me. One time I was talking to him about the deal, and he said, I'm not sure I would have even made it to the big leagues if I stayed with the Atlanta Braves. He said when he got to St. Louis, went to the minor leagues, they changed him up a little bit mechanically, made some adjustments. He always had a good curveball for the most part. Really relied on a good sinker and changeup too when he was in the minor leagues. But the curveball developed. He said, but his mindset changed to where over here the expectations changed. Where with the Atlanta Braves they weren't as high as when he was in St. Louis. When he got
That's
to the
interesting.
minor leagues.
I've never heard that story. That's fascinating.
He's an interesting guy.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. Classy, cordial, and more important than anything, he can pitch. Don't pay you to be classy and cordial, but he is.
There's a lot of nice guys that weren't very good.
That's right.
Look at that, changing up his delivery to the plate, the timing. Even just the little things, how cerebral he is on the mound. And he is one of those guys that you just mentioned that is able to make the adjustment on the fly, figure out what's working for them in the game. He does that pitch to pitch. Here's a 1-2. Molina sets up inside, and it tails over the plate and fouled back.
And also, I mean, when you watch him on a daily basis or a routine basis every fourth or fifth day, you realize he doesn't let his mind get in the way. And there are a lot of guys who can make adjustments, stuff like that. Pitchers are different now. And sometimes their mind gets in the way of their ability.
They put me here.
Pitchers did this. That's my tombstone. Right.
I love that.
Well,
it's true, right?
Hope that doesn't happen for a while.
The 2-2 is hit on the ground to second. There's Cosmo. Travis Wood back to the mound when we come back. It'll be Grichuk, Holiday, and Peralta. No score. Dan McLaughlin with you, as well as Jim Hayes. A chilly night here from Wrigley Field. Magic number stands at 5 for the Cardinals. Grichuk, Holiday, and Peralta. We have heard so much about the minor league system of the Chicago Cubs. They have played better here at home. They started out 7-12, and since that time they are 32-27. So 5 games above the 500 mark. You can imagine anticipation will be awfully high going into next season. Young players, we'll see what they do at free agency.
10 young players have made their debuts with the Cubs this year. And we talked about it the last time we did a Cub-Cardinals series about how the farm system of the Cubs for years was just horrible. With the exception of that early 1960 crop. Billy Williams, Ron Santo,
Ferguson Jenkins.
Fergie was acquired in a trade in '66, but that group of guys, Leo DeRocha, the manager, Kenny Hubbs, the fine second baseman, was tragically killed in a plane crash. Then they had Randy Hundley later on, Bill Hands, Kenny Holtzman from St. Louis, grew up in University City. Had enough to win, but didn't win in 1969, and nobody knows how far that put that organization back. But they just never developed young players. But they're doing it now.
Here's Holiday, who popped out into foul territory. Last championship that this stadium has actually seen was a football championship, 1963.
The Bears. Bill George is the middle linebacker.
That's right. What's interesting about that, the Bears have had 14 players who have had their number retired. Only one never played a game at Wrigley Field. Walter Payton. Bounce to the right side and a base hit by Holiday.
I'll tell you, that's a great play by Soler in right field, charging that ball and stopping Grichuk. Grichuk looking at the ball and not checking the third base coach, Jose Oquendo, but he really shouldn't do that until he gets to second base. He can tell, and once he looks to Soler in right field and sees Soler charging that hard, that stops him at second base. The look. And then he was going to pick up Oquendo. But you make up your own mind as the base runner. You're your own coach going to second base. And when you get there, you look to third.
Soler, plus arm and right.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. Peralta struck out swinging first time up. And takes ball one. Steele out to visit. Baseball today has decided to come up with a committee to speed up games. They're going to look at it this offseason. One of the things they're talking about are the visits by catchers to the pitching.
We've talked about it. In my view, no visits to the mound. The only visit is when the manager's given one shot. One shot. No catchers on the mound. No shortstop, second baseman. They're unnecessary.
Bud Selig was in St. Louis over the weekend, and that's one of the topics that was brought up. Bud was in to basically informally say goodbye to the fans of St. Louis. We were able to conduct an interview. You saw some of that on the pregame show. But one of the things that Rob Manfred, the next commissioner, is looking at is how to speed up games. 3-0 on Peralta.
I mean, visits to the mound are so time-worn, if you will, that they used to be old banquet stories. What'd you say? Look at the pretty girl in the second row or something like that.
Right.
Remember
sure.
that? I mean, people used to make fun of those visits, and they should have. And baseball should do that now to the point where they shouldn't allow them.
They turn them loose on 3-0. They do, and it's hit foul.
That's a good 3-0 swing by a professional hitter right there. He chose the right pitch and hit it the way you want to hit a 3-0 pitch, hard foul, by pulling it, and not the other way, not to center field.
Hit out to left, and it's past the diving Coughlin all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. Holiday is held up at third, and Peralta with a double has given the Cardinals a 1-run lead. 3 consecutive hits to start the top of the 4th for St. Louis.
That was an interesting swing by Peralta. He actually hooked that ball, almost one-handed it to left center field. Coughlin diving for it. Got by both base runners. Grichuk and Holiday had to hold up, particularly with nobody out. Grichuk first. Got to see the play develop. He's going to score easily if the ball hits the ground, and he does.
Now Molina lined out to right. 0 for 1. Runners at second and third. Infield playing in a few steps, and here's a look at Holiday.
Got to keep the number of outs in mind. If it's 2 outs, he's going all the way. If it's 1 out, you're a little more aggressive, but with none out, stop at third.
Middle infield is moved back. And that's taken down and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Third baseman Valbuena is also moved back now.
It's kind of odd because they're playing halfway, a couple of steps in on the first pitch, and after the first pitch they move back. I don't get that.
So they're awfully deep in right field. Base hit into right. 1 run will score. Kenda will hold up the runner as the ball gets away. Molina on his way to second base, and a miscue by Rizzo. Just missed the ball. He's the cut, and Molina puts himself in scoring position.
I think it's going to be an error on Anthony Rizzo.
Should be. If it is, that'll be his 10th, and he is a guy they think will eventually win the Gold Glove. So an RBI base hit for Yadier Molina.
Watch Yadi round the bag a little bit. Chris Maloney pointing, stay to the bag. But once Molina stopped, he started again and made it second base. That reminds me of the story of Joe Torre, who said he won the Gold Glove in 1965 and used it in 1966. so maybe the glove Anthony's using at first is gold already.
Good cut by Adams.
And I'm only kidding.
Kind of. I thought Soler was playing too deep in right. I made that point right before the pitch. But with his arm and with Peralta, nobody out, no need to try to push the issue a little bit.
You could do a lot of things when you have a good throwing line.
Right.
You could play a lot deeper than normally.
0-2 on Adams, who struck out looking his first time up. This is a typical Travis Wood start. He seems to have, if you look at game by game, 1 or 2 blow-up innings. And outside of that, he's pretty good. A strikeout as the ball gets away. Throw down to first to get Adams. And the runners stay put at second and third. Strikeout number 6 this October. History is made as baseball's postseason moves to America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1. And it all begins this October. Infield at the corner spots are in. Now middle infield is in as well. And Jay lines a single into left center field. 1 run is in. Here comes Molina. He will score. And John Jay adds to the Cardinals' lead. It's 4-0 St. Louis.
That play was all messed up. Anthony Rizzo's the cutoff man all the way over to the third base side of the pitcher's mound. Travis Wood was somewhere in that area between the mound and home plate. Good hitting by John Jay. Driving in 2. Fielded by Coughlin. And look at Rizzo and look at Travis Wood. Travis Wood's in no man's land between third and home when he should be backing up the play. See, these are the things that have bedeviled the Cubs for all these years, their lack of play. And I'll tell you what, I was telling you about the article I read in the Chicago Sun-Times today. You flew in, didn't have a chance to get a paper, so you didn't see it. But it's about base running and how Rick Renteria wants to change that next spring. That the base running for the Cubs has been deplorable this year. Their defense is too porous. And I think in 3 or 4 years, I think Rick Renteria is going to do a terrific job with the Cubs as their manager.
A lot of young players, too.
Yeah, right. But you can be young and good and not know how to play the game.
Yeah.
The one thing that everybody talks about is the St. Louis Cardinals, when they get to the major leagues, they're prepared. They're prepared to handle the pressure. They're prepared to play the game. They know the fundamentals. And that's been going on for years and years and years.
Dave Ricketts, George Kissel, now Mike Schilt, Pop Warner.
Yep. Right on down the line.
But just 2 little things that you're talking about even in this inning. The error by Rizzo. What should be a routine catch on a cut. And then defensively, just not having the relay set up properly.
Yeah, errors are one thing, but not being in the right position. If you're in the right position and you boot a ball or something like that, but you've got to be in the right position. I mean, the game's a complex game. But there are routine things that are done, and sometimes they're comical. I'm going to tell you a story after this at bat.
0-2 on Pete Kozma. Doubled off the wall and left. First time up. Runner at second base. That's John Jay. And Kozma hits it out of play.
I'll tell you now, you remember Game 7 of the 1991 World Series. 8th inning, Lonnie Smith at first base. He rounds the bag at second.
Let me interrupt you right there.
Go ahead.
They faked him out.
They faked the decoy of Chuck Knobloch and Greg Gagne, the double play combination. Gagne said that Knobloch, he recently told me this, that Knobloch was saying, Gags, do the decoy. So they were actually talking and conversing, and Gagne was thinking about going to left center to be the cutoff man because the ball was hit to left center field by Terry Pendleton.
That's right.
And the Braves ended up with runners on at second and third. Now, this is the 7th game of the World Series.
Lonnie Smith would have scored, too.
He scores easily.
Yeah.
Easily. He went for the decoy at second base, but while the decoy was going on, Gagne was thinking, wait a minute, am I supposed to be here? I should be the cutoff man. I never even thought of that.
Me neither.
And the bases were loaded.
It's off the end of the bat. Little squibber. And Wood makes the play.
And Jack Morris got out of it, and the Twins won it 1-0 in 10 innings. And that's the point about being in the right place and doing the things right on the bases, doing them right defensively.
That's exactly right. I mean, you got to look at little things that the Cardinals have
Little
done.
things are big things in baseball.
But over 162 games, they pile up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're inaptly named, in my opinion. They're not that little.
So here's Wainwright with a runner at third and 2 outs. And the first pitch is a strike. Wainwright struck out first time up. Nothing at 2 to count. That was one of the great World Series games ever.
Absolutely. Game 7, 1991, 10 innings of shutout ball by Jack Morris. Think about it, it was all the ones. The last three, perhaps the greatest World Series games ever. 91, 01, and 11.
Yeah. I'm partial to 11 if you.
Oh, absolutely. Understandably.
Just a little partial to that one.
Understandably. 2001, of course, there were such emotions because of 9/11.
I thought collectively that was the greatest World Series ever because of 9/11.
Yeah, I think so.
And a strikeout of Wainwright, number 7 tonight for Travis Wood. But the Cardinals strike first with 4 here in the top of the 4th.
One of them waved home by Jose Oquendo, telling us that when he's close to the bag with runners on at second and third, that he's more apt to send the runner from second base. His responsibility is not the lead runner anymore. He pays the attention to the trail runner. There's Jose, the trail runner being Yadier Molina, and he scores him easily, even though he's not that fast, but he's a good base runner. Oquendo, one of the best around.
Second longest tenured third base coach in the major leagues. Third base coach in Tampa Bay is the longest tenured. Tim Foley, I believe, or Tom Foley, I believe.
You got it.
Javier Baez. '66, Byron Brown, Randy Hundley, Adolfo Phillips. The last trio of rookies to have 10 or more home runs for the Chicago Cubs. Baez is trying to join Alcantara. Soler, by the way, has 5. You're talking about some young players that have potential. I think of concern right now, if you're a Cubs fan or part of the organization with Chicago, the amount of strikeouts. It's alarming when you look at Baez. Now, he's a young player, obviously, but it is alarming. Popped up. Adams One down.
He didn't necessarily have that reputation as a guy who struck out a lot when he was in the minors either, right?
No, and if you look at the numbers, not even close to what we're seeing at this level.
84 strikeouts and 189 at bats.
That's right.
That's mind-blowing.
He's playing shortstop, which is his natural position. Starlin Castro injured on a play at the plate a few weeks ago, and it does not look like he'll return before this season is through. Anthony Rizzo doubled to left field with 2 strikes back in the first inning.
The Cubs obtained a young player in the deal that sent Jeff Samardzija to the Oakland Athletics.
Another shortstop.
Addison Russell. I forgot his name there briefly. But Addison Russell, only 20 years old,
right.
And from what I understand, a very good player. I guess the point is, you mentioned Starlin Castro. He could be a piece that, I mean, he's a 3-time All-Star.
Yeah. Still leading their team in hits this year.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not sure that Rick Renteria is enchanted with some of the antics of Castro.
I will say this, Dale Swain had issues in dealing with Starlin Castro.
Yes.
Those that follow the Cubs day in and day out believe that Renteria, who is bilingual, by the way, has gotten more out of Castro and is able to communicate with him a lot better.
Right. Yeah, I by no means, I was talking to Peter Chase, the PR director of the Cubs before the game.
That is a fair ball. Adams to Wainwright, 2 down.
I by no means am trying to get him traded or anything like that, or even saying things like that, but I'm just saying that he would be a guy that sometime within the next 2 years would fetch a healthy player from another organization.
No doubt. Most popular way to follow the Cardinals' push to the postseason is MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball. Live look-ins, replay reviews, and so much more. It's all at MLB.com. Good curveball in there to Jorge Soler. Applied to right his first time up. A plethora, though, of young shortstops in their organization.
Yeah.
You would have to think if you're athletic enough to be a major league shortstop, you're probably able to play more than just the shortstop position.
A guy like Baez can.
Exactly.
He's had 21 starts at second, 25 starts at short.
0-2 on Soler. Ground ball, that is foul. They also have Chris Bryant coming up, who is the #1 prospect in baseball right now, third baseman. They flirted with the idea of bringing him up. Then you start his clock, and you start the clock then of Baez, Soler. Now Soler is under a 9-year deal. They signed him as a Cuban defector, so we're talking about a guy that is locked up. However, the others, different story. One and two the count. On the outside corner. This strike zone is pretty healthy tonight. Big, wide, up, down. Wainwright taking advantage of it. Strikeout number 5. Matt Carpenter, who's 0 for 2. Travis Wood has struck out 7 here tonight. Gave up 4 hits in a row in the 4th, and that led to 4 runs. And that's our score, 4-0 here in the top of the 5th. The 91 walks by Matt Carpenter, most by a Cardinals leadoff man since 1914. We're not talking about a power hitter getting pitched around. We're talking about the Cardinal leadoff man, which makes it even more impressive when you think about what Carpenter has done in that walks department. I wonder how concerned the Cardinals get with Matt Carpenter here in the final 2 weeks. Remember last year, Tim, he was stuck at 199 hits. And it was at bat after at bat to get to 200. Couldn't get there.
And maybe worn down when he needed a break.
And that's what I'm thinking might be happening a little bit here now.
Well, of course, here you're trying to win the division.
Yeah,
too.
and he's got to play.
Yeah, he's got to play.
But the Cardinals had talked about even 2-3 months ago trying to slow down his pace and how hard he works in his game preparation. There it is, walk number 92 for Matt Carpenter. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2014 postseason. That will begin September 30th.
And the Cardinals hope they're not involved September 30th.
No, sir. Get it done and move on. And you don't want to be in that play-in game too. You don't want to have, let's say if it falls that way, Adam Wainwright.
That's right.
Is your ace going in that elimination game.
I mean, there's a long list of reasons where even though you've clinched a postseason berth, you do not want to be involved in that one-game playoff. It may seem obvious, but just because the Cardinals are certainly going to play in their 11th postseason in the last 15 years, much rather win the division.
Bridget pops it back and foul. To me, one of the great things that Bud Selig has done is, and I am to an extent a traditionalist of the game of baseball, but the wild card has been good for the team.
It's fun.
It's great.
It's fun. It's interesting. And you can be analytical about it. It requires a push to the end. There's no let up the last week of the season. By the way, Pittsburgh beating Atlanta 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
And by adding the second wild card, there is a quote-unquote penalty, if you will, by not winning your division, which is important.
Right, and there should be.
Absolutely. 2-2 the count.
The only thing you get, if you're the wild card, the #1 wild card team, you do get home field advantage in the one-game playoff. Big deal.
If San Francisco and Pittsburgh tie, the advantage would go to Pittsburgh because of the head-to-head meeting. So they would get home field advantage for that one game. Out to center. And a high fly ball. Kalish going back near the track and makes the catch. Tagging up Carpenter from first to second. Oh, what a throw.
Mike Matheny will question that call. But you're right. I mean, from that far in center field, he was almost to the track, if not on it. That throw a two-hopper to get Matt Carpenter. Almost on the track. Set himself well, helped by the flanking outfielders.
I'm not sure he ever got the tag on him initially.
Or if the ball popped out of the glove. No, he had control of it. He's out. May have tagged him a little too high. It's funny, we talked about Peter Chase.
Boy, I don't know if he got him, by the way, Tim.
I don't agree. think he got him right there. And, you know, your point's well taken because he went back for the tag.
We swipe tagged him.
Yeah.
And on the swipe, I'm not sure he got him. If he did, he barely got him.
Is it convincing enough, though? That's the...
Exactly.
But Peter Chase was talking about Baez and how quick his tags have been. Wellington Castillo has thrown out 9 of his last 10 base runners. And the reason Baez with his quick tag, maybe in that instance it was too quick. I don't know.
Now, instant replay has been added this year. We've had a full season just about now to take it all in. I guess the true test will be postseason play, which is one of the main reasons they added it. They didn't want to have a big play that decided a World Series or a game in the postseason. But I miss seeing a Billy Martin or a Lou Piniella going out there and having a good old showdown with an umpire.
I miss that myself. I don't think that particular play that just happened would be the type where Mike Matheny would go out and argue vehemently, but he'd question the call probably.
I'm not sure
now
he got
there
him on
are
that
no more
swipe
arguments.
tag.
I think it leads to boredom.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm seeing a good argument.
We haven't seen too many this year.
I just don't like him at home. I'll take him at the ballpark.
Well, it's that umpire's outfit you keep wearing at home.
I'm in the kitchen and call for review. Let's get the neighbors over here. It's called New York. If we all could have review at home.
Oh, what a visual.
It's tough to see on these replays, too, because a couple of the replays showed that from our vantage point, the umpire blocking the view, and I think the question right now is whether or not he got him on the swipe tag, and if he did, he barely got him. But to your point again, he went right back.
Yeah, going back, usually when you go back, that means you think you missed him the first time.
Exactly. Cardinals have asked their players to be adamant if they feel that a play needs to be challenged. You know, Mike Matheny has said, show me some emotion. Tell me if you think you're right, because more times than not, you will be.
Use your gut.
Use your gut. I like the aggressiveness, up 4-0 of Carpenter tagging on that
yeah,
play.
those are the things you do with a 4-run lead. Take a chance. And he was safe. I did not think it was conclusive enough, but the Cardinals get the call.
Now, you want wishy-washy, I'll give you wishy-washy.
All right.
I thought he was safe, but I didn't think there was enough evidence to overturn it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree. I thought he was out, but I didn't think there was enough evidence to overturn it. I feel strongly both ways.
I like that. Really go out on a limb with this.
Right.
So he winds up being safe, and now a chance for Holiday to add to this Cardinal lead in the top of the 5th. And there's only one out. And Holiday, little flare into shallow right, and the move pays off. Soler, no throw. Carpenter will score 5-0 St. Louis. They're going to challenge, make him pay, and the Cardinals do.
Well, Matt Carpenter just stole that run. A walk. Went to second base on the long fly to center. And the changeup hit off the end of the bat by Holiday, and he drives in run number 88 on the year.
No hesitation by Carpenter from second base. And now it's Peralta. Hit a double past the diving left fielder Chris Coghlan tonight. That drove in a run. And he's 1 for 2. 5-0 Cardinals. A 4-run 4th. 1 run here in the 5th. Holiday's short lead. And that's taken for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. Hard to believe, but the 27th year of playing under the lights here at Wrigley Field. 27 years now. The first game that they ever played with the lights at a night game here at Wrigley got rained out. Rick Sutcliffe made that start. And a walk to Peralta. The second walk in the inning by Travis Wood. For a limited time, you can get exclusive access to 2014 playoff and World Series tickets by placing a deposit on new 2015 season tickets. For details, visit cardinals.com/season. So nearly 30 years of playing under the lights here at Wrigley. All 3 games of this series will be night games.
Talked about the sparse crowd here at Wrigley Field tonight. Unusual, particularly with the Cardinals here. But gosh, I remember those old day games in the middle 60s. And, I mean, you knew the names of all the people in the stands. Drawing 3,500, 4,000 people. Matter of fact, I think you used that statistic. The Cubs drew more people in 1906 than they did in 1966. That to me is one of the most remarkable numbers.
Really is.
You know, it's amazing. 60 years prior to 66, they drew more people.
A ball to Yadier Molina. Cardinals just wrapped up the home portion of their schedule last night. They went 50-31 at home, so 3 consecutive years of 50 or more wins. But Tim, 55 sellouts. They never were under 40,000 for a home game this year. Over 3.5 million coming to Busch Stadium 3 this year. And the highest attendance ever was 2007. And you would think that 2006 would be, because that was the first year of the stadium. But you have to remember, down the left field line, there was a couple of sections that weren't even completed yet at Busch Stadium 3. And you've added Ballpark Village and the seating across the street on the rooftop, so to speak. The porch deck over there. So 3.5 million plus this year. That rolls foul. Well, we talked about it. Holiday, Molina, and Jay, and what they have done against this lefty, Travis Wood. This trio, big numbers. Holiday tonight, 2 hits. Yadier Molina, RBI base hit, a run scored. And John Jay with a single that scored 2 back in the 4th. One-two pitch. Have you noticed, Tim, that Molina, I'm sure it's because of the thumb and the hand, we're not seeing him drive the ball as much?
Oh, yeah, that was my point. Now with 23 hits since coming off the disabled list, 19 singles. So it's robbed him of his power. But certainly the Cardinals will take that because of the effect that he's having overall on the team.
Goes to right an awful lot. That pitch inside. That's something else that pitchers are doing with him. They're busting him in. But if he gets a pitch in the middle or outer half, he's so good at going the other way. Inside, and it's 3-2.
I think you absolutely send the runners here. Got a 5-run lead.
Doesn't strike out much.
Go for the throat. Yeah, he doesn't strike out much. Got a left-hander against a right-handed hitter.
There go the runners. Starting the runners, they avoid the double play. Adams is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. The Cubs have 13 relievers in their bullpen, 10 right-handers, 3 lefties. This could be the final inning of work for Travis Wood. Pitch number 100 here.
Almost like the Cubs have gone out on the streets and invited a few people in. If you'd like to be part of our bullpen, we got 13 guys in the bullpen, 10 right-handers.
They carried an extra reliever this year. Their starting staff was iffy at best. But come on in.
Yeah. To Waveland Avenue, wave in a couple of.
It's the last time he threw. Come on. Two-0 pitch to Adams. Now we're talking about Molina's swing, and with Adams, you're also seeing a compromised swing to an extent, dealing with an oblique. You're not seeing the full extension at times with Adams. I'm not saying it happens every swing, but sometimes, especially on a changeup, you'll see that. That's ripped into right center field. 2 runs will score. The Cardinals have a lead of 7-0. Adams with RBI 67 and 68.
Like a fastball off Wood. And Adams contributes.
Team that was really in search of offense last 4 or 5 games of the homestand, and they put up a 7 spot tonight.
That second game of the doubleheader against the Cubs on August 30th, the key game, certainly one of the biggest games of the year for the Cardinals. They won that ball game.
Down 5-0 in the second inning.
Yeah.
John Lackey on the mound. As Jay fouls it back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay with a single and 2 RBIs tonight. Also was robbed by Kalish in right center. With a 7-run lead, the way that Wainwright is throwing, you feel awfully good right now about game 1. And a strikeout of Jay. 8 strikeouts through 5 innings for Travis Wood. However, the Cardinals rolling here tonight. Midway through 5, 7-0. game one here in Chicago. Adam Wainwright, sharp through 4 thus far. Wainwright has allowed 1 base hit. The Cardinals have put up 7 runs, with 4 coming in the 4th inning. And Andrew McCutchen, a solo home run. The Pirates lead 1-0 in Atlanta. Magic numbers at 5. Luis Valbuena struck out his first time up. Wainwright has had 3 top 3 finishes for the Cy Young Award. 3. This year, 11 starts, he has gone at least 7 innings. And they're scoreless. But 11 times he has done that. It's the most since 1969. And a leadoff walk. Wellington Castillo will be the hitter. I think overlooked him to an extent this year has been what Lance Lynn has given the Cardinals. Underappreciated maybe across all of baseball. 9 strikeouts last night. And he now is at 176 strikeouts. That's 3 consecutive years of 175 or more. Last to do that was Bob Gibson in St. Louis.
It's almost like every outing Lance has had has been a good outing.
Yeah. And it seems like he's getting better and better and better.
Yeah, it does. More confidence.
Took the loss last night, but 9 strikeouts in doing so. And it's a Tim McCarver timeout. Here's a look at Lance Lynn. And the wild card, if you will, in all this, the man to his left, right portion of your screen, Michael Wacha. And where the Cardinals go with Wacha, who have another start with him.
Yeah, you're looking at 2 of the most important chips the Cardinals have going into the postseason.
Is Wacha ready for another playoff run?
Right.
You know, is he physically ready? Almost got through 5 over the weekend. That pitch is taken low, and it's 3-0. 7 straight balls to start the home half of the 5th. This is Castillo at the plate. I can't remember a time when Wainwright threw 7 straight balls.
No.
Broken bat lifted into shallow center. And the catch made by Jay. Castillo is 0 for 2. And let's turn to our Budweiser What's on Tap. Miller against Hendricks. Hendricks has really been a surprise for the Chicago Cubs since his debut. 7 wins in 12 starts. ERA is just over 2 in 2 starts against the Cardinals. And Shelby Miller, 4-0 with a .69 ERA in the month of September, and finishing up quite well.
He's a different pitcher in September than he was the first 5 months of the season.
What are you seeing?
Throwing strikes, number 1. Curveball, number 2. It doesn't seem like he's missing up as much. Just over the last 4 or 5 games. And again, you know, sometimes, Dan, it's what you can't see. It's the confidence that he has, that builds and builds and builds. You talked about Lynn, similar with Shelby.
Right now, you'd have to look at Wainwright, Lynn, Miller, no particular order, with the exception of Wainwright being your ace. But those three definitely on your rotation in terms of what you're looking at in postseason. And then the wild card, like I said before, Waka, Lackey, who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking about Waka. You can't help but think that how far can he go if he's right? You know, the dilemma the Cardinals have in saying, well, will he be right for 5 innings? Will he be right for 80 pitches? It's hard to take a key starter, and all the starters are keys, particularly in short postseason series. But can you take a guy like Michael Waka and put him on a pitch count of 80 pitches and say, well, he's definitely not going to pitch more than 5 innings, or definitely not going to pitch more than 80 pitches because we can't take a chance with his future? Can you entrust that with a young pitcher, knowing full well that the price may be too high by ruining him?
I don't think you can.
It's a hard thing. It is a gamble.
Now, can you, as crazy as it sounds, in October, could you piggyback him with somebody and say it's worth the gamble to say, all right, we'll take the 90 to 95, 100 pitches that you give us, wherever that takes us, we're good with it, and after that we fill the gaps? I mean, it's on the table right now.
Then if the game before you've used your bullpen that much, then you're looking at a situation where he pitches 5 innings. Now you've got to use the same bullpen for 4 more innings minimum. I don't know. It's hard.
We wouldn't be saying this if he wasn't so talented and had a track record of what he did a year ago.
Right. Particularly the game in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
Game 4.
Elimination game.
Yeah.
And a breaking ball that's pulled foul.
Or if you miss the first round and then say, well, he's healthy enough to start, say the Cardinals advance to the NLCS. And now, okay, Waka will pitch game 2 because we think he's healthy enough now and he's rested and his arm's fine. But he hadn't pitched in 2 weeks.
That's the other factor.
Yeah. So if you're going to take him, you almost have to take him in the first round. But for you folks who may not know, you could sit anybody out during the division playoff or the NLCS and then start him in the World Series.
Sure.
But the point is, obviously, he's not going to be working. He might be stale. So anyway.
Nice catch by Jay in left center. Wainwright thought he had a strikeout, had to go back to work and gets a little help from John Jay. 7-0 St. Louis after 5. And you can earn 2% back in fan rewards on every purchase. That includes Cardinals tickets. Plus, with all-in pricing, there are no surprise fees at checkout. StubHub, it's your ticket to upgrades and more. Most consecutive starts of 6 innings pitched or less. And that's not a list you want to be a part of. Travis Wood goes 5 tonight, now 15 starts. And remember, this is a lefty that was an all-star a year ago that pitched an even 200 innings. Made a final start against the Cardinals, went 1 inning last year to get to 200, then was lifted. So they're not protected with 13 guys in their bullpen. They'll never be protected, and it turns over to Blake Parker.
That's also a pitcher, Dan, that can keep himself in the game because of his bat. So that's an equally alarming 15 straight innings without going 6 innings for a guy who can hit. So you don't have to pinch hit for him.
Good point. So Blake Parker is the new reliever for the Chicago Cubs. Kozma, Wainwright, and Carpenter. Kozma tonight has doubled to left and also grounded out. 1 for 2. So Wainwright going tonight. Shelby Miller tomorrow. Wednesday night, John Lackey and Jake Arrieta. Arrieta is 9-5. Hendricks 7-2.
Blake Parker, 25 of 27 saves, a September call-up, made the PCL All-Star team.
He's been up and down this year with the Cubs. Driven out to center. Ryan Kalish is there for the first out. I wonder when the Cubs take an honest look at themselves, to the conversations that Jed Hoyer is having, Theo Epstein, Rick Renteria, their coaching staff, just how far are they? You know, where are we as an organization? Are we this time next year seeing
they're better off this going into this fall than they were going into last fall?
No question.
We know that.
Definitely. And then once you come up with that determination, and some fans think it's 16. Tim rolls his eyes, as do I.
Yeah. What Sports Illustrated back in spring training said it was going to be who in 2017? Oh, Houston in 2017. Right. So we have the Cubs at 16, and I mean, who comes up with these ideas? We could do that, just pull a name out of a hat.
Yeah, but we're the morons that read the article.
Yeah, right.
So it worked.
Right. Very good point. Quality point.
Theo Epstein, I read the same article. Strike on Wainwright. So the question becomes, though, how much money do you go out and spend? What players do you build around? And you brought up the valid point of the future of Starlin Castro. Is he a guy that we look at that could be a winning player for us? And he is locked up long term.
And you also mentioned earlier the money they're going to put into improvements at Wrigley Field. I mean, how much money do the Cubs have? I mean, will that in effect? That's been questioned.
Oh, yeah.
And whether you can maintain any kind of competitive field advantage, or just, you know, showing up with a representative major league team and still do the renovations that this place needs. A lot of renovations.
Yes, it does. They're concerned about nights like tonight. They should be. There's a dwindling fan base with the Cubs. Now, last month has kind of re-energized them to a point that there are some young players on the horizon. Now they're seeing them. They've been hearing about them. but is it enough to up your season ticket base? Is it enough to get more fans coming out outside of the series with the White Sox and the Cardinals and some of the bigger draws along the way?
True.
Never forget it's a business, right?
Yeah.
Big money. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carpenter. Cardinals lead 7-0. Carpenter with a walk and then tagged up on a fly ball to center to second base. The play was reviewed, initially called out. Then he was turned over to being safe and then driven in on a blue base hit by Holiday, his 88th RBI to lead the club. You were a part of one of the great runs in this franchise's history, and right now it is arguably the best run that they've ever had.
Absolutely.
And Carpenter drills it into right center field. That ball will get down and extra bases. 2-out double for Matt Carpenter.
That was a typical, concise Matt Carpenter swing on a pitch that he usually drills. Inside part of the plate, just above the waist, between the Cardinals and the belt buckle. And that's the look he usually gets on his face. Eyes light up, salivates a bit, and then hacks.
I was wondering if you were going to say he was licking his chops. He was licking his chops. Here is Randall Grichuk. Right now, Grichuk is passed up Oscar Taveras in terms of playing time, and he's earned it. He scored a run. He is single. Twice he has flied out to center. Tim, you may notice that Grichuk is back on his back leg a little bit more. He's not as jumpy as he once was. Not out in front.
I did not notice that.
Take a look here and see if you can pick it up on a swing if he makes contact. We'll take a better look at it, but that's one of the things that he's talked about that he's really improved upon. And that exact pitch there is what he was telling me was getting him his first couple of times through. He said he was so over anxious, nervous, understandably so. He was jumping at pitches. So
jumping at the ball. That's a common trait.
Yeah, you'd see
not only for a young hitter, but for older hitters too.
A slider, let's say, on the outer half, and he'd chase it. Intriguing player.
That was a check swing. That tailing fastball got inside on Randall. But you think of how sound an approach that is. Waiting and having quick hands, the two vital elements. When you wait, you allow the ball to get deep in the batter's box. You read it longer.
Popped up to the right side. Rizzo near the Cardinals bullpen with room. Cardinals strand a runner. They have left 4 on tonight. Wainwright back to work. It's 7-0 St. Louis. Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio and a Bomberito Sports Update with Pat Paris. There is not a hotter team right now than the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Telling you.
My goodness.
Playing 3 1-0 games in a row. Milwaukee beat them in Pittsburgh 1-0 on Saturday night. They beat Milwaukee yesterday afternoon 1-0, and now they go to Atlanta and beat the Braves 1-0.
Logan Watkins with a bouncer up the middle. Peralta to his left. So the lead for the Cardinals currently at 2. St. Louis holds on. It stays at 2.5, and then the magic number reduced to 4. Unfinished business here. The top of the lineup and Chris Coghlan. Adam Wainwright has had 4 seasons of at least 19 wins. Bob Gibson, by the way, 20 or more wins 5 different times. 19 win campaigns. He did that twice. Shallow center, John Jay. 2 down. FoxSportsMidwest.com is your home for Cardinals coverage all season long. Game previews, recaps, videos, and more. It's all at FoxSportsMidwest.com. Javier Baez. Struck out swinging, also popped out. Made his debut back on the 5th of August. And a strike. His 3rd game, he had 2 home runs. First player since our friend Joe Cunningham did that back in 1954.
Jersey Joe. Obviously watching the game tonight in St. Louis. Back in 1959, my first year, 17 years old, when I idolized Joe Cunningham and not Wade Blassingame, Don Blassingame, the Blazer, who married Walker Cooper's daughter, the famous Walker Cooper. She was Miss Missouri. And Don Blassingame and Joe Cunningham had an apartment. They were 2 bachelors, and they lived above Smokey Joe's Grecian Terrace in Gaslight Square. And boy, did I idolize these guys. That was living then, baby.
8-pitch inning for Wainwright. I'm going to go back to that in a moment.
No, you're not.
Playoff baseball in St. Louis. Every day the Cardinals play this postseason. Get a Big Mac or Quarter Pounder with cheese for just 25 cents when you buy one at regular price. 25-cent Big Macs and Quarter Pounders, a Cardinals postseason tradition. Those mentors of yours, tremendous, it sounds like, both on and off the field.
Yes, they were. Don Blasingame and Joe Cunningham. They taught me a lot. Now that's enough.
What makes you think I was going to keep
Well, because I know you pretty well in a very short period of time.
I was
a devilish look on your face.
You were telling me some great stories off the air.
Well,
you know,
like in Vegas, those things stay here.
In Vegas.
Do that.
I won't do that to you. Here's Holiday, and that pitch taken up and in. I'll tell you what, you're a wealth of knowledge between innings, too.
Well, I mean, I just idolized Don Blasingame. I idolized him so much I couldn't think of his first name last inning. But he was from Corinth, Mississippi, about 70 miles from Memphis, and really a good player for about 12 years in the big leagues, and went to Japan and became a terrific coach in Japan for years. I mean, for years. Yeah, for I'm talking like 25 years. And then worked for Lee Thomas when Lee Thomas was the general manager with the Phillies. Don ran the farm system.
So he was accepted over there as a coach.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. A smart guy, great base runner. Went to Cincinnati. In fact, his position was dislodged by Pete Rose.
Is that right?
Yes, 1963.
It's pulled foul. Love that famous photo of Stan the Man's final game. And if you look closely, and hopefully that young fan is going to be okay, but if you look closely, and they're honoring Stan before the game, and both teams are aligned, the third and first base lines, the young Pete Rose is right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the symbolism.
Rookie of the year that year.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years since Pete has been kicked out of baseball.
You and I talked about that before the game tonight, Dan. It's my feeling that within the next 5 years, Pete Rose will be eligible to be voted into the Hall of Fame. I don't know how many people think that, but you were talking to a lot of people recently in Cincinnati who said maybe even earlier.
With the All-Star game being there next year, that's Carlos Villanueva is the new pitcher. A strikeout of Holiday. But that's really one of the big stories, if not the biggest story, around that town concerning the All-Star game. With all the eyes of baseball, the baseball world, on Cincinnati, will Pete Rose be reinstated and have a chance to be a part of baseball? Would he be a part?
New commissioner.
Yeah, Rob Manfred is there. Would he be a part of maybe just a special night? Will he be allowed to be around the game and any of the different events that happen around that are Major League Baseball sponsored? An All-Star game. Position near the bag is Alcantara, and he makes the play. So there's two down. Oh, you gotta love it. It's the AT&T fan photo.
All right.
And here it is tonight.
Wouldn't it be great if it were Pete Rose in Cincinnati? There he is on the right.
There's Pete. Taking into Gateway City. That's the AT&T fan photo.
All right. I mean, I was adamantly opposed for years about Pete because he did something that you, more than anything else, cannot do in the game. That's bet on the game. It took him a decade to apologize. A lot of people are critical, and they have every right to be. But the only reason he apologized was that he got $1 million in advance for the book he did apologizing.
you're in the Hall of Fame, you're around those circles, and you talk to guys that are in the Hall of Fame. What do you think the general consensus is among them?
I still don't think a lot of them feel as though Pete belongs in the Hall of Fame. It's my gut, but I don't know that for sure.
When you read the comments, and I've talked to some of the Hall of Famers about it, I get mixed messages too.
Yeah.
And I wonder if their poll with the commissioner would be the final vote, so to speak. You know, if they don't want him in. I think
that's an important point, and I think I agree with that.
You know, if they don't want him in to that select company, that could be it. Time to stretch as Molina grounds out. Wainwright back to the hill for the bottom of the 7th. 7-0 St. Louis.
The winner is Tom O'Reilly.
On the All-Star break, 2-4 in August with an ERA over 5, and here in September he is 4-0. And a strike to Anthony Rizzo, who is doubled to left and also grounded out. Did you see that come right into our booth?
Little bag of Fritos. Ed Casper and Jim DeShays do the television work for the Cubs. They're right in the booth next to us, and we are in between their radio booth and their TV booth.
They're throwing bags of Fritos.
Yeah, right.
Ground ball that's tapped foul by Rizzo.
That's what happens at Wrigley Field in the 7th inning when you're losing 7-0 if you're a Cub fan. As many Cardinal fans here as Cub fans tonight.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Rizzo with the 31 home runs. Just the 5th left-handed bat with 31 home runs wearing a Cubs uniform. First since Henry Rodriguez. Remember Henry Rodriguez, 1998.
Called him O. Henry in Montreal. And threw O. Henry candy bars, speaking of throwing things.
So it made me think of it.
Yeah.
But that 1-2 punch that they had in 98, they had Rodriguez and Sosa. The most ever by a left-handed bat, Billy Williams, at 42. guy that you know quite well.
I'll tell you what Billy Williams did after this out. Billy Williams had 10 career home runs against Bob Gibson. And that in itself will give you an idea what kind of hitter he was. And before he came up, every time he put a half a stick of gum in his mouth, he would go around the batter's box and enter the batter's box from the first base side. But before he did that, he'd spit the gum in the air and swing at it.
Whack at it.
I never saw him miss the gum. He always hit it toward the visiting dugout.
Is that right?
Yeah, as a left-handed batter. Because the first base dugout's visiting. He always hit it there. He never missed the gum. Now, I've kidded him about it for years. And he said, that's right. Half a stick.
Every time.
Never missed the gum. He could hit.
Now, you know Wainwright, between every inning, puts in a new piece of gum.
I did know that, yes. I've heard you say that before. That's how I found that out.
Yeah, and he'll throw the gum behind the pitcher's mound before he starts every inning. Here's Soler, the check swing. So there's a pile of 6 pieces of gum out there somewhere, and you can see them in there. And he does it, he says, to get the stickiness a little bit from the gum. Moisture. And he'll go to his mouth and wipe it off on the pant leg. But he says it does help with the stickiness on his fingers. Hey, it takes all kinds.
And we tell these stories hoping that our audience is not getting disgusted with talking about gum and spitting it and hitting it.
I love that story.
And that's good. Yeah.
What's cooking for the Cardinals? Speaking of eating, Farmland Foods. Pittsburgh, 3 games left. They've won tonight. They've got 3 more with Atlanta. Cardinals have an off day Thursday, and then they'll take on Arizona, a team that has hit hard times this year. Ernie Banks, Ferguson Jenkins, Ron Santo, Billy Williams never played in a World Series. No?
Best chance was 1969 when they had that big lead against the New York Mets. Gene Oliver, who was a former Cardinal, by the way, said that if the Mets catch us, this was back in early August, if the Mets catch us, I'll jump off the John Hancock building.
Oh, no.
And the Mets caught that. The Miracle Mets of 1969.
Billy Williams did get traded to Oakland and was part of a team that
1973.
Right, they won the American League West, but did not advance to the World Series.
Now, to put a capper on that, he could really hit.
Smooth.
Oh, man.
1-2 pitch. A fastball taken high. Wainwright has struck out 8 tonight. He has allowed 1 base hit. That 1 hit was in the first by Anthony Rizzo. A 2-strike swing as he went to left. And that's been it. He's walked 1. Get the feeling this may be the final inning of work for Wainwright. This spot is due at 4th.
I was thinking that last inning.
Big lead, no need to push him.
This is not June. 5 games left in the season after tonight for the Cardinals. 6 for the Pirates. Put that complete game shutout on the back burner. You don't know whether Mike's going to go that route or not, but I agree with you.
You mentioned the numbers. He's gone so deep in his games recently. He's had a ton of innings over the last 2 years. If you can get an inning here or there before postseason, why not? A base hit. That's into center field. By the way, no one has been throwing in the Cardinals' pen. That may change now. So the first hit for the Cubs since all the way back in the first inning. They start to stir a little bit in the Cardinal pen. by Castillo. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And Sam Freeman is up now, and he'll start to throw.
Hard base hit to center by Valbuena. And then Castillo. Hard ground ball to left.
Ground ball to second. Alcantara, he's the final out, and we head to the 8th. What a job by Adam Wainwright here tonight. 3 hits, 8 strikeouts. Eight strikeouts. Jay 1 for 3, pair of RBIs. Wood 5 innings, 8 hits, and Rizzo 1 of 3 Cubs hits tonight. Matt Adams, John Jay, Pete Kozma for the Cardinals, as Sam Freeman continues to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. So it looks like Wainwright's night is through.
It makes all the sense in the world, I think, Dan. Go to your bullpen. I mean, you got a 7-run lead. One more start for Adam Wainwright, maybe a tune-up start if the Cardinals clinch by the time Adam starts, either following Saturday or Sunday, or if it gets really into belt clinching time, saving him for the wild card game.
Right. You hope that's not the case, but it
absolutely. But the way the Pirates are playing, I mean,
you never know. A swing and a miss by Adams, who singled in 2 back in the 5th. He has struck out twice. Cracked out to deep right field. And this ball is off the ivy in the brick. Soler with a cannon, and Adams beats it. So leadoff double for Matt Adams. He's 2 for 4.
Well, that ball was crushed. A ball that was not crushed was John Jay in his second at bat. It's rare that a guy, watch his practice swing right there. He didn't roll the top hand over. And his base hit on the slider away is just like his practice swing. You almost never see that.
There's the practice swing going on right now.
That's so unusual. A lot of guys will swing after the bat, but it's almost like John is guiding his hands toward the pitcher before the pitch is on its way. He'll do it every time up.
Well, we have seen the hands have been quieted He called them helicopter hands. He would go up and down with his hands. Now he'll rest the bat on his shoulder as a way to try to settle the hands down. One ball and one strike. Runner at second is Adams, and a 1-1 pitch. Jay with a base hit into right. And Adams being waved in. Soler, no throw. 8-0 St. Louis. A big night for John Jay with his third driven in.
John rolls his hand at top end over with that swing. A fastball from Villanueva. This ball is really hit hard. Going out to get it. And by the time it got to Soler, Adams had too good a jump at second base. No play at home.
So here is Pete Kozma. 8-0 Cardinals. Kozma with a double tonight, and he's 1 for 3. Kozma hits a rope to short, safe at first.
You told me that if you're on first base, line drive to the left part of the field, you never get doubled up on the ball like that because you're only going to go to second base anyway. Mike Shannon.
Is that right?
It's a true story.
He's right.
He's absolutely right. That is a Mike Shannon truism. That if you're on first base, line drive to the left side of the infield, you cannot get doubled off because you're only going to go to second base anyway. The only exception is a ball where the shortstop has to jump for it to where it may go into left center field, and then you go to third base. But all other times, you can't get doubled up on the ball like that.
Makes all the sense in the world, too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Here's Oscar Taveras. So Wainwright's night is through. Oscar's done a very nice job as a pinch hitter this year. Fastball taken low and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Taveras out to deep center field. And that ball is caught again by Kalish. He robbed Jay earlier. This time he gets Taveras. What a great play that was out in center.
Those plays are almost identical.
Man.
The ball John Jay hit to open the third inning. It was the first out of the third. And now the second out of the eighth on a ball just crushed by Taveras. Kalish, as John Jay retraces his steps, his past second base and retreating to first. He had to step on second, of course. But 2 very good plays, almost identical, made by Ryan Kalish.
And in steps Carpenter, on base twice with a double and a walk, and he struck out twice.
We were talking about this before the game. There's been improvement with Taveras.
No question.
It's not a leap, but it's a foot.
No doubt. I mean, we're seeing him, and the last time that you and I worked together, we were in Miami, as you mentioned.
Right.
And at that point in time, he was not getting around on a fastball.
Hitting a lot of balls to left field, even in hitting situations, hitting them foul down the left field line, a 3-1 count, 2-0 count. Bad signs for any hitter. But things have changed. He's better. And realistically, how much more can you expect?
His upside expectations were so high coming in, and maybe we all fell into that. I guess
maybe the Cardinals too.
Well, I think so. I think everybody did.
Yeah.
I think if you ask the Cardinals, they would honestly tell you they expected him to hit better than he has.
Yeah, that's a realistic answer.
I would say this though: he comes in to spring training next year, better shape, having major league experience. His upside should be a lot higher. I mean, in terms of what he's doing right now.
The lessons you learn precede the upside. You know, it's a grown man's game too. If the lessons aren't learned, then the upside is slower, and you're gone.
And he's got to figure it out, because if you look at the way the roster is currently constructed, John Jay in center, Peter Borges coming back. You know Holiday's not going anywhere. Club loves Grichuk and what his potential is, and he's getting better.
Right.
So it's on him to improve.
That's right.
The 2-2. And Carpenter strikes out for the third time tonight. However, the Cardinals add to their lead. 8-0 St. Louis. Right now, the ERA for Adam Wainwright is down to 2.38. His night is through. He gives way to Sam Freeman. And barring a miraculous comeback by Chicago tonight, Wainwright goes to 20-9 with a 2.38 ERA. Pretty exclusive company there on that list, too. It was brought to you by BJC. Our difference maker, the BJC Healthcare difference maker. And now it's Sam Freeman, our Chevy, called to the pen. By the way, the best year for Wainwright, arguably 2010. His ERA was 2.42. That's the best it's been in the big leagues. So right now, 2.38. And he become a two-time 20-game winner. He was 20-11 that year. The Cardinals hold on. He goes to 20-9. Matt Caesar. And a ground ball hit to second. Taken there by Cosma for the first out. Another reminder, don't miss a minute of the postseason at Busch Stadium. Tickets for potential wild card and National League Division Series games at Busch. They're on sale right now. Make sure you're there. the sea of red. For all the action, tickets at cardinals.com/postseason.
Dan, we talked about Oscar Taveras and what precedes the upside, that diligence. I'm sure Sam Freeman's learned that this year. And how valuable it is to throw strikes. His stuff never questioned. And this year, his strike throwing is not questioned.
Much better this year than in years past. We'll have to break down the numbers, but he seems to be better, Tim, when he starts an inning as opposed to coming in.
I think most pitchers are like that.
I would think so, too. But it does seem to be that way with him for sure. Mike Ault, who's got very good power at the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, it makes sense because usually if you come in an inning, it's not with nobody on.
Right.
It's usually, it may be the pitcher you're following, his base runners. Obviously it would be. But, I mean, it all makes sense.
You mentioned walks, and that's what gets you a little concerned with Trevor Rosenthal and what he's been dealing with.
I think more than a little concerned.
40+ saves, 40+ walks.
I mean, the very fact that Seth Menes came in to finish a game the other night and Trevor Rosenthal started the game, it's more than just a little concern. Trevor made the starter last year with only 3 saves, right, for the postseason?
Right.
I don't think that's been solved yet.
It's getting a little late.
Yeah. But I think it's fair to say,
no question. 1 out walk.
Mike Matheny would like for it to be automatic, to go to Trevor and say, Trevor, it's your game to win or lose. I don't think you can say that right now. Maybe by the time the playoffs start whenever it is, next week, maybe you'll be in a better position to say that. Why? I don't know. Will it be that important over the next 3 or 4 games to end the season? I don't know. You?
No.
I mean, it's a hard thing to figure out.
What's been interesting, too, is seeing his splits at home as opposed to what he's doing on the road.
Right.
You know, it's night and day difference what he's done on the road. It seems like he comes in on the road, not all the time, but more times than not, it's the Rosenthal that we saw a year ago. At home, it's more of an adventure. And I don't know if it's more pressure at home. It's the, you start hearing the groans with a walk, that kind of thing. The bottom line is he has to cut down on his walks.
Yeah.
Period.
Right. That's right.
1-2, the count on the leadoff man, Chris Coghlan.
And often it's the leadoff hitter.
No
which
doubt.
escalates the heat and the pressure on it. And the team. And Mike Matheny to make a move. It's all befuddling. I mean, and it's certainly the most befuddled of those that we mentioned is Trevor Rosenthal.
Do you tinker in the last week and say start from the stretch? Because he's had a lot of guys that he's started an inning off with working from a windup.
Sure.
Do you think in those terms? 2-2 the count. Adams is playing behind the runner with a lefty up in an 8-run lead. Peter Borges, by the way, is taken over in center. John Jay is in left. With a big lead, you get a couple of innings off for Matt Holliday, and you have a very good defensive outfield right now. Three and two the count with 1 out. And he walked him. So back-to-back walks. Last night we saw Kevin Segrist with a couple of walks and then was lifted. Freeman got the first man and has walked 2. And with that, the bullpen will start to throw, and there's Seth Menes who has had a tremendous season. Lefty Randy Choate grabbing a baseball as well.
I'll tell you, the most improved reliever for the Cardinals this year is Seth Maness. The guy who really scrambled and struggled. It was a tough first 2 months for him. And since that time, through diligence and hard work, concentration, help from Derek Lilliquist, he has become one of the main cogs in the bullpen. I don't think if the playoffs started tomorrow, if I were Mike Matheny, I would not feel at all strange about playing the hot hand. That's what he did with Trevor Rosenthal last year. Without question. It's just food for thought. I don't know. There's nothing that's clear right now with 5 games left to go.
Tim, I mean, when you look at a postseason now and having to go through all the different levels that you have to, you know, think about over the course of 6 seasons or 6 months of a regular season. Oh, nice play here. Double play ball, 6-4-3.
Oh, man.
Wow. Spinning Peralta in the turn at second by Cosmo. Sam Freeman says thank you very much. To it. Aroydis Vizcaíno is our Chevy call to the pen as we start the 9th inning. One of the points I was going to make, Tim, was that over the course of 6 months is the bullpen is always in a state of flux. And you're talking about riding a hot hand. So get the hot hand at the end of the season.
Well, we talked about last year, and we were talking about it between innings. Edward Mujica had the best year of his life for 4 months of his life.
Right.
And never pitched in the World Series.
It was Rosenthal.
Trevor Rosenthal. So this is it's not a comfortable situation managing in the major leagues ever, but going into the postseason and trying to figure all these things out. I mean, you can just imagine the dilemmas for Mike Matheny right now and his staff. It's tough.
It is. Randall Grichuk will be the hitter. The pitch at 96. Grichuk, a broken bat and a base hit into right field. A 2-hit night for the young outfielder for St. Louis. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Opening day, Peter Borges was your center fielder. That first game of the season, the lineup in Cincinnati.
Talking about states of flux, right?
That's the point. Now, he has had a very good second half. His average well above 300. Nothing in 2. Kept in front by Castillo.
Notice how the sound of the pop of the mitt resonates here. I tell you, when you're playing on the road, you love to play in front of a quiet stadium. Pop. Pop, and that means you're in front.
Yes.
Which is the case tonight.
Borges with a fly ball into center field.
Yeah, if you're on the road and you can hear things that clearly and that crisply, you know you're ahead comfortably.
I would assume, though, some of the things you hear you don't want to hear.
That's true also.
Here's Descalso.
A lot more civil in the Midwest than it is up east. Boston, Philadelphia, New York.
Saw Jonathan Papelbon suspended.
I saw that. That's a battle you're never going to win.
Battle against the fans?
Yeah, that is just not only ill-advised, just never do it. Forget this being an age of social media. In any media, don't do it.
Gary Templeton found that out too.
Oh boy, did he ever. I'll never forget that day.
Yanked into the dugout by Whitey Herzog.
Yeah, right. It was 1980.
Right.
It's funny how weird things are sometimes. I mean, here's a good ball player, and a lot of people in baseball thought that after all was said and done, Gary Templeton would have been a much better player than Ozzie Smith, but traded 1 for 1. And Whitey had no idea Ozzie Smith was a Hall of Fame shortstop.
Right.
He knew he was good, paid him a lot of money for stopping runs instead of driving them in. Remember that line by Whitey. He said he prevents 100 runs a year. It's the same as driving in 100 runs.
Gary Templeton was a fabulous player.
Oh, my gosh. But were it not for his misconduct, the trade probably wouldn't have been made.
No. exactly right.
You know?
So a walk to Descalso. Runners at first and second. And here's one of the heroes from over the weekend, Tony Cruz. Maybe, just maybe, Tony Cruz has complicated the thinking of your postseason roster.
With his last week of offense, maybe.
Right, the hot hand.
Sure, sure. So many decisions to make and so little time and so important.
Last time we were here at Wrigley, the Cardinals had just acquired A.J. Brzezinski. Now with Molina back, that playing time is cut to almost none. Pitches popped up on the infield fly, and out number 2. We had that long 13-inning game in which the Cardinals had used Molina, used Brzezinski. They were down to Tony Cruz. The emergency catcher was Pete Cosmo. After that, may not surprise too many folks, but Jason Mott, the former catcher, was going to be used if it got down to that point. And Mott may have made his final appearance at Busch Stadium yesterday wearing the Cardinals uniform. He pitched in the game, and very cloudy future with the club at this point. Tricky hop to short, and the pick by Rizzo. Adams is retired. That sends us to the bottom of the 9th. All St. Louis tonight. There's a class act right there, Jason Mott. By Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hayes, Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you. A beautiful night here in Chicago. Cardinals will open up the season here at Wrigley Field next year, as Randy Choate is our Chevy call to the pen. potential that November 5th would be Game 7 of the World Series next year. Season will start a week
later. Right. I read that. Why?
I'm not sure.
So far, Derek Jeter, the only guy in the history of the game who was Mr. November.
Right.
In the 2001 World Series. A home run in the extra innings. Think about the decisions for the New York Yankees over the next 7 months. The retirement of Derek Jeter and the reinstatement of Alex Rodriguez, or not so. From class to crass.
I just don't know if you're the Yankees. I understand the money, but can you really bring him back?
I don't think so. But if they don't, where does he go? I mean, do you release a man you owe $60 million to? If it's strictly business? Or maybe you lose more than $60 million by keeping him.
Yeah, that's the question.
Sure.
If you're the Yankees, do you? I think you have to, but do you try to add Troy Tulowitzki and see if the Rockies are ready to part with him? I mean, money really isn't the issue with them. You wouldn't think.
No, but players might be. I mean, the Yankees are running out of minor league players.
Yeah.
I'm not saying running out, but running out of the type that would need to be dealt if you're going to acquire a guy like Tulowitzki.
Sure. There were 2 shortstops last year on the market that most clubs figured were the top 2. That was Drew. That was caught by Borges in center. And the other was Johnny Peralta.
I'll tell you, the Stephen Drew thing still boggles my mind. It's one of the more mysterious things in recent years. Why somebody didn't sign him quicker. Then he was finally signed by the Red Sox and traded to the Yankees, playing second base, a new position.
Yeah.
Go figure.
The compensatory pick that was associated with him, it didn't make a lot of sense for the Cardinals. Number one, they didn't want to give up the pick. Number two, left-handed batter, they've got enough of them in their lineup. You don't want to be too left-handed. That was one of the issues the Cardinals had.
Right.
Here's Soler against Choate. Draft picks now are valued more so than even sometimes money players.
Certainly more than they used to be.
No doubt.
The market has changed.
Chop towards second and a base hit. They had a shift on. And Descalso could not get to that baseball, so there is aboard. Cosma at shortstop. Descalso staying in the game, and 3 on the left side.
Sometimes you can tell how the ball comes off the bat in just routine ground ball situations, how much topspin a ball has. You can denote the power of a hitter. And that young Jorge Soler is going to be, in my view, none of us have seen him a lot, but he's going to be some player.
I've seen him 3 games, and I agree. I mean, he is fun to watch. He is more polished than the other young players that they have, too.
More control and defensive hitting situation.
Ball, 1 strike on Luis Valbuena. Valbuena owns 4 home runs against the Cardinals this year. He has hit 16 total. Could be 2. Out at second, on to first, and that is win number 20 this year for Adam Wainwright. Magic number is down to 4 for St. Louis. Adam Wainwright, the Budweiser player of the game. Second time in his career that he's recorded 20 wins. His ERA has dropped to 2.38. And the Cardinals take game 1 by the final of 8-0 here tonight.
Second 20-game win season for Adam Wainwright. And nobody's happier for this guy. He is so popular. Obviously, his ability makes him so, and his teammates know it.
Win number 88 for St. Louis. Magic number down to 4. 8-0 the final. Post game comes your way next.